Imagine you're a rescue worker in the Soviet Union. February 1959. You've been sent into the Ural Mountains to find 9 missing hikers. Experienced mountaineers, students, people who knew exactly what they were doing out here. You find their tent. It's still standing, but something is deeply wrong. The tent has been cut open from the inside. Not unzipped, cut with a knife from the inside. All their food is still there, their boots, their coats, everything they needed to survive in -40-degree temperatures, left behind, and the hikers, gone. What you find next will haunt you for the rest of your life. 9 bodies, scattered across the snow, some half-dressed, some with injuries that made no sense. Fractured skulls, crushed ribs, and one woman missing her tongue. The Soviet government closed the investigation and classified the files. Their official explanation, an unknown compelling force. This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident, and over 65 years later, nobody truly knows what happened that night. In January 1959, 10 young hikers set out from the city of Sverdlovsk in the Soviet Union, heading deep into the northern Ural Mountains. They were students at the Ural Polytechnic Institute, and they were good. All of them held the highest hiking certification available in the Soviet Union at the time. This wasn't their first difficult expedition. It wasn't even close. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student, experienced, respected, and by all accounts an exceptional leader. With him were 8 others, 7 men and 2 women, ranging in age from 20 to 38. Their goal was to reach Mount Otorten, deep in the northern Urals, a Category 3 route, the most difficult classification available, attempted in February, the harshest month of the year. 5 days into the journey, one member, Yuri Yudin, turned back. He had a knee injury that wouldn't allow him to continue. It was the decision that saved his life. The remaining 9 pushed on toward the mountain they called Otorten, a name that, in the local Mansi language, loosely translates to, "Don't go there." On the evening of February 1st, 1959, the group made camp on the eastern slope of a mountain called Kholat Syakhl. In the Mansi language, Kholat Syakhl means dead mountain. They pitched their tent on an open slope, unusual since the tree line was just over a kilometer away, and would have offered shelter. But they were experienced. They had their reasons. The last photographs taken by the group show them setting up camp, laughing, their spirits high. Their diaries from that evening reflected the same. Tired but happy, joking with each other, full of life. And then, sometime that night, something happened. Something so sudden, so terrifying, that 9 experienced mountaineers grabbed knives and cut their way out of their own tent, without their boots, without their coats, in temperatures that would kill an unprepared person within minutes. They ran down the slope, away from the tent, away from whatever was inside or outside that tent, and not one of them ever came back. When no word came from the group by February 20th, a search party was dispatched. They found the tent on February 26th, half buried in snow, slashed open from the inside. Inside, boots, food, coats, equipment, everything the hikers needed to survive. All of it left behind. Leading away from the tent were footprints. 9 sets of footprints, walking, not running, down the slope toward the tree line. At the edge of the forest beneath a large cedar tree, searchers found the first two bodies, Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko, both in their underwear, both barefoot. There were signs they had tried to build a fire. Higher up the slope, 3 more bodies were found. Igor Dyatlov himself and 2 others, positioned as though they had died trying to crawl back toward the tent. But it was the final 4 that made the investigators go pale. Found months later, buried under 4 meters of snow in a ravine. Their injuries were unlike anything the medical examiners had seen. Nikolai Thibault-Brignol had a fractured skull. Semyon Zolotaryov and Lyudmila Dubinina had crushed chests, multiple broken ribs on both sides. Injuries the medical examiner described as equivalent to being hit by a car. And Lyudmila Dubinina, the 20-year-old woman on the expedition, was missing her tongue, her eyes, and part of her lips. No external wounds, no signs of a struggle. Just gone. Some of the clothing tested positive for radiation. The Soviet case file was stamped, classified, and sealed. Official cause of death: an unknown, compelling force. The Dyatlov Pass Incident has generated more theories than almost any other unsolved mystery in modern history. Here are the most credible ones. Theory 1: an avalanche. The most widely accepted explanation today is that the group was struck by a slab avalanche, a dense layer of compacted snow that broke loose from the slope above their tent. In 2021, a team of physicists published research showing that the group had cut into the slope to level their tent. And that wind-blown snow accumulating above that cut over several hours could have created enough pressure to trigger a slab release. The force of a snow slab is enormous, enough to cause the crushing injuries found on the 4 bodies in the ravine. Panicking in the dark, unable to see, the group cut their way out and ran. But there are problems. Investigators at the scene in 1959 noted the slope wasn't steep enough for a typical avalanche. The tent was only partially buried, not what you'd expect from a major snowslide, and the footprints leaving the tent were described as calm and ordered, not the frantic escape of people buried under snow. Theory 2: military weapons. Testing the Ural Mountains in 1959 were deep Soviet military territory. Witnesses in the region reported seeing strange glowing orbs in the sky on the night of the incident. Some investigators have suggested the group stumbled into a secret military weapons test, possibly involving infrasound weapons, which can cause extreme panic, disorientation, and paranoia in humans at certain frequencies. This could explain why 9 experienced hikers ran into a blizzard without their clothes. The Soviet government's decision to classify the files and close the investigation quickly has fueled this theory for decades. There is no direct evidence, but the secrecy has never been fully explained. Theory 3: infrasound from the mountain. A variation on the military theory suggests natural infrasound, produced by wind moving over the mountain's unique shape, could have created a common vortex, generating sound frequencies below human hearing. At certain intensities, infrasound triggers extreme anxiety, panic, and even hallucinations. The theory suggests the hikers were driven out of their tent, not by anything physical, but by an overwhelming, invisible terror they couldn't explain or escape. Theory 4: something else. Over the decades, stranger theories have emerged. The Mansi people, indigenous to the region, were briefly investigated as suspects. The KGB, the CIA, and Yetis have all been proposed. The missing tongue of Lyudmila Dubinina has generated particular speculation, though forensic experts have suggested it likely decomposed naturally in the stream where her body was found. None of these theories fully explain every detail: the radiation, the internal injuries with no external wounds, the calm footprints leaving the tent. When the Russian government reopened the investigation in 2019, they concluded an avalanche was the most likely cause. Most experts agree. But most experts will also tell you, not everything adds up. The Soviet investigation was officially closed in May 1959, just a few months after the bodies were found. The files were classified and remained sealed for decades. The mountain pass where the incident occurred was renamed Dyatlov Pass in memory of the group's leader. Yuri Yudin, the one member who turned back, lived with the weight of survival for the rest of his life. He visited the pass in his later years to pay his respects to the friends he had left behind. He died in 2013, still believing the truth had never been fully told. Today, the Dyatlov Pass is a destination for hikers and mystery enthusiasts from around the world. A memorial stone marks the area, the Dyatlov Foundation, established by a man who attended the funerals as a child in 1959, continues to push the Russian government for full disclosure. The files have since been partially released, but key documents remain missing. 9 experienced hikers, 1 frozen mountain, and a night that has never been fully explained. The most likely answer involves snow, physics, and the brutal mathematics of survival in -40 degrees. But the missing tongue, the radiation, the calm footprints in the snow, some details refuse to be explained away. And until someone finds those missing files, the Dyatlov Pass will remain exactly what the Soviet government called it in 1959: an unknown, compelling force. What do you think happened that night? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more of history's strangest unsolved mysteries, subscribe, because there's plenty more I haven't told you yet.